What's good, YouTube? It's your boy NYC Mike, man, and I'm back with another reaction video. You already know what it do. And today we're gonna be reacting to, do trans athletes have an unfair advantage? You get what I'm saying? As you can see in the picture of the video, this should be very interesting. But before we get straight into the video, man, I need y'all to do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and most of all, turn on those post notifications so you get notified when I upload a new video. Without further ado, we're gonna hop straight into it.
A woman is
having a vagina. Actually, no. Whatever you want to think as a woman.
There's trans men who are now capable of giving birth.
Does questioning make you transphobic?
I'm homophobic. I'm transphobic.
Like, why are you asking these questions right now type thing?
So today I asked about trans athletes. Challenge each person with questions the other side may ask. So let's see what they have to say. Should trans athletes compete against biological women?
People think that they're gonna beat them, then they're probably not the best for that competition.
That's like saying, like, there's like 10 bears that are all fighting each other, and then it's like, wait, let's bring in this one T-Rex, and then let's add that in, and let's see how that kind of goes. And what happens is the T-Rex just destroys them.
So trans people are T-Rexes?
I mean, you can say that.
Women's sports is pretty self-descriptive. Women compete against women.
No matter how many surgery,
Exactly.
a woman's body is a woman's body. You can't really change that.
You get on hormone therapy, it does change the hormones within your bodies.
If they're classified as females, they should be able to compete against females. What do I actually think?
Yeah.
I think women should compete against women, and transgenders should compete against transgenders.
Okay. Why do you believe that?
I got my own problems.
I was in the military. Was it fair for a male to do the female PT test?
The woman's PT, like a lower standard?
Significantly lower, because a female can only do so much.
I do play men's volleyball though, collegiately.
Before we continue, I know damn well I'm not the only one confused. I hope you don't mind me asking, but were you born a biological male?
I'm non-binary, so I can be female as a gender, and my sex can be male.
Whatever feels best for the day.
How about between Monday and Friday?
Monday and Friday, definitely she, her at my job. It just depends on the vibe.
Depends, yeah. On this channel, we explore the unfamiliar, because it's only through genuine conversations that we can change our perspective. But will people be too afraid to speak their truth? And with all the controversy, will I be demonetized, or even worse, canceled like Chappelle? Bro,
Oh,
chill. Ain't no
boy.
one canceling you with your no subscriber head ass. I guess we gon' see. What is a woman then?
Anyone who identifies as such.
It's just somebody who feels comfortable within femininity.
I don't even want to say femininity because it goes beyond that.
I'm more of a logical
What?
person. Kind of actually take that weird Jordan Peterson type stuff, just believing in yourself, and actually affect that towards like gender.
Maybe let's take like a recent controversial issue like abortion. Heard women say, hey, no one should be making laws about us. In that instance, it seems like a woman is someone who is able to have a baby. Does that constitute a woman, or would you still stick with your definition?
A uterus wouldn't like make you a woman. I feel like there's so many other parts that are so much more important than.
Of course. You know what I'm saying? This is coming from a woman that, you know, not trying to put her down, but, you know, these be the type of females that be having this mindset. You get what I'm saying? A uterus doesn't make you a woman. Okay, sure, right? Sure.
Vagina considers a woman, but if you have like the long hair, if you have the nails.
So I think those are pretty big differences, right? Because I could put on nails and hair, but if I identified as a woman, would that make me a woman?
Yeah.
Is there any scientific definitions, or is it just the words become true?
No one decides to become a woman. So no one just wakes up and is like, oh, I feel like being a woman. There are tons of thoughts, decisions, and even social repercussions like this entire line of questioning.
But that's basically, he just asked her, right? If I was to identify as a woman, would that make me a woman? And she literally just said yes. But then she turns around and says, but no one can wake up and decide that they're a woman. But choosing to identify as a woman is literally the same thing as waking up one day and being like, oh, well, I'm a woman now. You get what I'm saying? And I want people to refer to me as a woman. So, like, you literally just contradicted yourself. You're like, what? I'm telling you, man, some of these people are.
That come with coming out as a
Oh,
woman.
boy.
But wouldn't that be kind of ignoring some sort
Look
of
at this.
biological, I don't know,
Look
reality.
at
I think that
this.
everybody has their own biological
Bro.
reality. And that's how the world has always worked. But this world is changing every fucking day, and you just gotta keep up with the new time. Are you straight by chance?
I am, yeah.
You identify as straight, and you identify as a male.
Yeah.
So not everybody's gonna follow what your path is, and some people have their own path. And sometimes we just weren't born with that knowledge because we didn't got taught that as children.
Why has it changed over the last few years?
There's trans men who are now capable of giving birth. Whatever makes someone feel better at night and doesn't hurt somebody else, I don't think should matter to anybody.
Okay. So then what will the other side say? Okay, in your mind, do you think there are more than two genders?
Yes. I couldn't identify them all for you. But
I'm an old school, so if I'm growing up, I just know man and woman.
Again, I think I decided that I'm an alien. Do you believe me? And if you don't accept that I'm an alien, then you're wrong. And that just doesn't make logical sense. So you can have your own opinion, your own thoughts, but I think there's one or the other.
Outside of sport, I don't really think it matters.
So obviously both sides have opinions, but do both sides have solutions? What do you think is a solution? Do you think trans athletes should have their own league? Do you think that sports should be gender neutral?
I've seen some females out there that can kick any guy's ass. I mean, look at fucking Ronda Rousey. She could probably take all her asses up at once.
I don't doubt that at all, but do you think...
Bro, that's WWE. It's fake. Like, they're acting. Did he really just use... Did this weirdo really just use a WWE example? In WWE, they're acting. They're not actually fighting. They're not actually hurting each other. You get what I'm saying? So...
Think she'll be able to take a professional male UFC fighter?
No! She's gonna get washed!
You know what I mean?
Honestly, I feel like you could beat my ass with those, honestly.
Maybe I'll give somebody a black eye with these.
Some women probably think that they're like faster than men, and some men probably think that they do like way better in like a female, or I'm trying to think of one that typically females are in. Ooh, cheerleading.
Yeah, I think that's the only way you could do it without pissing people off.
Should our priority be to not piss people off?
Fan is one of those topics right now that we just have to normalize.
It's not gonna work 2 or 3 times as hard to try to compete
I disagree
against
with that.
someone naturally born as a male.
Which does bring up something that no one wants to talk about. Are trans women taking away women's rights? Because it wasn't until 50 years ago when Title IX granted more equal access to women in sports. But today, when a trans woman receives a roster spot, is it denying biological women's opportunities? And if there are biological advantages, more times than not, is it denying opportunities to win?
I think you have to ask that population.
If only I knew someone who was trans and also an athlete.
I think someone who is prepubescent and is on hormones before developing natural testosterone, they're not as strong as me.
So should there be an age cutoff then?
Yes, their estrogen and testosterone levels have to be tested before competing.
If I'm gonna be real, I didn't expect that answer. And that even with hormone therapy, when you transition matters. So let's explore further on these advantages. Do you think that trans women have any sort of advantage against biological women when it comes to sports?
No. People can train and become professionals in whatever sport that they want to do, and
You could just tell that she's just like she's pro LGBTQ all the way. Like, you could just tell. You get what I'm saying? She agrees with the narrative. You know what I'm saying? She agrees with the non-binary, all of that gibberish. You get what I'm saying? She agrees with all of that stuff, man. You could just tell. Look at her. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to clown her, but like, you know, she just seems like the type that would be cool with that stuff. Like, you get what I'm saying? It's just unbelievable, bro.
you have the same ability to do that. Some people grow muscle faster than others, and that has nothing to do with your genitals.
In general, do you think men and women have physical differences?
I think there are physical differences across the plane. We have differences, we're both women. We have differences, we're both women.
She's not understanding the context. She's not, and this is the stuff I be talking about. And I'm sorry for posing so much, but this is actually like very irritating and frustrating. I like when I watch videos like these because, you know, I'm gonna just say this right now. There are physical differences between men and women. Men by default are physically stronger than women. There's a reason why they have a woman division in UFC and they have a man division in the UFC. There's a reason why it's separated. Because if you put a woman and a man in a ring together, the man is going to destroy the woman in that fight. Because he is just on a biological level, he's just physically superior. So that woman is not going to stand a chance. No matter how much she trains, how much she can do all of that. If that UFC fighter is training just as hard as she is, she would never be able to amount to the same strength as the man. She just won't. That man will violate her in that ring. And that is because men on a biological level, we are physically superior. Now, is that to say that we are better than women? No, that doesn't make us better than women because of that. No, that just means that we have physical differences. It's nothing wrong with that. Like, you get what I'm saying? You literally have some females out here that take that as a problem. It's okay to be different. Like, you get what I'm saying? It's okay to have physical differences. It doesn't, come on. Both men and women have pros and cons either way regardless. You get what I'm saying? So there are some things that women are better at than men are. You get what I'm saying? And then vice versa. There are some things that men are good at that women aren't good at. You get what I'm saying? It goes both ways, man. We both have our pros and cons. So it's just like, this whole like is, well, me and her are different. Like, that's not what he was asking. You're missing the context. That's not what he was asking. So what are you talking about? Like,
yeah. There could be biological advantages to it, but at what point is like that measure quantifiable?
A basketball player is scoring 500 points a game.
I would say that would go into more of the skill than rather than just like hormonal like influence.
As long as they're on like the proper treatment like HRT, I actually think at that point it becomes a disadvantage. I am also on estrogen. Like I lost a lot of that muscle, gained a lot of fatigue.
When I used to play soccer and I felt like it was like better. I felt like I could challenge myself more.
It said that it made you better. Are you saying that men have an advantage over women when it comes to sports?
No, I don't think so. There's like ways in which that men and women can learn from each other in sports.
I guess, but could that be considered a bit unfair for biological women?
I don't think so.
Do you know who LeBron James is? Yeah. So he's 6'8", 280 pounds. What if he became a trans woman and competed against WNBA players? Would that be something that the WNBA players should just get over?
Like, she would have an advantage. At the same time, I don't know, I feel like they could figure it out.
He probably...
What? You see the delusion? You see the delusion?
We would be in a league with similarly stacked women. There are 6 foot plus women who weigh a lot, who have a lot of musculature, and probably they'd be playing in the same league.
I think it would just depend on the sport.
I guess what would be a sport where it would be an equal playing field?
I haven't really thought too much about it.
I think in swimming it's possible because they're likely to be more muscular.
And it's something that's actually happened. Leah Thomas was a swimmer at UPenn who started her collegiate career competing on the men's swim team. But during Leah's junior year, she started hormone therapy and transitioned to be happy. Previously, Leah was ranked 65th in the men's 500-yard freestyle, but as a woman...
Leah Thomas pulling away over the final 150 meters, wins the NCAA championship.
She ranked first after winning the national championship. It's controversial to even question this, but sports is competition. So to avoid falling behind, will more programs start exclusively recruiting trans athletes?
You know, complete what I signed up for.
It's something the World Swimming Organization has noticed. New rules will now only allow athletes who have transitioned before the age of 12 to compete in women's events. So the more controversial topic, the more discussions we need.
It's like I'm a big soccer fan. It's like women's soccer and men's soccer becoming competitive to the point where like some of them are like passing the same like records at the same time.
I had to disagree. Because I have personal experiences with this. When I was like on a U16 soccer team, we played the Portland Thorns. So they were like the women's champions of that specific year. So they have like Alex Morgan, like a bunch of like these Olympic high level athletes. We killed them 6-1 and we were 15.
A personal experience like that only goes so far. You can have outliers because we're seeing individual women break like certain records and all that.
Against other women.
It is against other women, but we are also seeing those numbers match very closely to male numbers.
But it's still against women. So what is the point you are trying to make? You are trying so hard to like combat this, to enforce this idiotic, excuse me, you are trying so hard to enforce this idiotic ideology that you have about men not having no biological, superiority to females. You get what I'm saying? When there clearly is, biological differences between men and women. Come on, bro. Like, so what are you talking about? Yes, those females are they're breaking records, but they're breaking records against other women. They're not doing it against men. You get what I'm saying? So are you saying that because they're breaking these records against other women that all of a sudden that makes them more of a challenge to men now because of that? Is that what you're saying? That still does not change the fact that men are physically superior to females. It's just that simple. Why is this so hard to understand? You get what I'm saying? It's not that hard to understand. This is not rocket science. It's simply nothing wrong with that. You get what I'm saying? Both men and women have pros and cons. We both have things that we're good at, and then we both have things that we're not good at. There are things that women can do that men can't do, and vice versa. A lot of women out here that just want to get their cake and eat it too. They want to be able to do everything, and it's just like, that's just not how life works, man. It's just not how life works, bro. And that applies to everybody, not just women. It applies to guys too.
Don't you think numbers are always relative, right? Like, let's say if I joined a 8-year-old league, I'm gonna score 1,000 goals, right?
No, but numbers as far as like stuff like goals or like...
Yeah, I guess like what I'm arguing that it is relative though, right? Because you're comparing a woman who is playing against other women's, that record against a man playing against other men, right?
Yeah, exactly. With those numbers becoming closer, that is also a good sign that you're going to move that, like, the bell curve closer and closer to...
But people wonder why WNBA and NBA get paid differently. It's because clearly NBA guys are dunking like crazy.
Do you think men and women should be fighting against each other?
So I would think the weight classes could account for that.
What if the biological women think it's unfair, but they still have to compete? What about those instances?
I know I would never be trying to fist fight a man.
Why is that?
My opinion doesn't really matter because I'll never be, like, involved in that stuff. Sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize.
If I'm a female and I'm training my ass off every fucking day, there's a guy who doesn't have to train as hard as me. He comes in and he beats me. I don't feel like shit. No.
And if anyone's allowed to voice an opinion, shouldn't it be those in competition? But instead what we're seeing is severe consequences for speaking out.
Because at a certain point, I felt like I had to do something.
Taylor Silverman is a Jewish skater who placed second in 2 different contests to trans women. So fed up, she posted a screenshot of her email to Red Bull, who hosted the contest.
And I knew that people would come after me. I knew that people would come after me for being Jewish.
And what followed was a viral post with tons of comments calling her a transphobe and even some anti-Semitic hate.
The people who are responsible are the contest organizers who allow it to happen, because the reality is all the athletes competing are just going by the rules. Obviously, emailing Red Bull wasn't a way to start a conversation about it. They did not want to have that conversation at all.
And it's exactly this censorship of discussion that's completely hypocritical to the toted message of tolerance and acceptance. And so it's time to explore further, because we've heard of trans women competing, but why not the reverse? Why do we never hear instances of trans men competing against biological men, but we've heard a lot of instances of trans women competing against biological women?
I am aware of trans professional male athletes who are successful.
But I haven't heard any in the NBA or soccer.
They tend to focus on things that are mainstream.
We just don't necessarily get that in the news as often.
But we've been hearing news about trans women competing against biological women.
How the news is, like, and that's how, like, this is. It operates on clicks.
Do you think there are instances?
Like, why are you asking these questions right now type thing?
I'm trying to get closer to what the answer might be. That's why I'm going this approach of asking questions what the other side may ask you.
It's a slightly different approach, and it's, like, nice.
And it's because of misogyny.
This is an instance of a biological woman turning into a man competing against men.
Yeah.
Why would there be misogyny involved then?
Because misogyny, because they don't see, like, they're not seeing them as men. Basically, they're not taking them seriously.
See, shut up. You don't even know what you're talking about. You don't even know what you're talking about. Just shut up. I hate people who do that. They throwing out terms like misogynistic, misogyny. You don't even know what misogyny means, but yet you're using the word. I hate people like that, bro. Don't use a word that you don't know what it means. And you're not even using it in the right context, so you're making yourself look dumb.
So then why do we not see the reverse? Do you think it's just one-sided misogyny, or...?
I literally think it's that.
If there's no physiological differences between men and women when it comes to sports, why haven't we heard any instances of that?
Society seems to deem women's sports as needing some sort of assistance. So when they see a trans person competing, they feel as though there's something encroaching on a sport that's already not competing on the same level as men's sports, which is inaccurate. Women's sports are highly competitive, often can compete with men at the same level and win.
I don't know about that. I don't know. Where did you get that from? Do you have statistics that prove that? Because from what I know, that's not true. Women's sports are not as competitive as men's sports. That's not to say that women's sports are not competitive at all, but they're not competitive on the same level as men's sports, though. Let's just be real. You get what I'm saying? Like, when you compare the WNBA to the NBA, who's going to get more traction? You get what I'm saying? Who's getting more endorsements? Who's getting more views? The NBA or the WNBA? The NBA. You get what I'm saying? Because the NBA, it's way more competitive. It's way more exciting. You feel me? The stakes are way higher. You get what I'm saying? While in the WNBA, nobody's really watching the WNBA because it's not as exciting. You get what I'm saying? And it's not as competitive. It's not on the same level as the NBA. You get what I'm saying? So to say that, you know, women's sports and men's sports are on the same level as far as competition goes, it's just plain stupidity. Like for real. Like at this point, you're just making stuff up to justify your dumb ideology that you have about these type of things. Like, you're not making no sense at all, because that's just simply not true.
What sports?
Like a woman playing against a man tennis player, you can see it being fairly competitive.
And in 1998, Serena and Venus Williams did exactly that. Or tried to. They challenged any professional male player to a match as long as they were outside of the top 200. The challenge was accepted by Karsten Brosch, who was ranked 203rd in the world. And the match was a close one. He beat Serena 6-1 and Venus 6-2.
It's a completely different sport. The men are a lot faster. I love to play women's tennis, and I only want to play girls because I don't want to be embarrassed.
So now it's time to ask the most important question. And it's a question that I kept asking my...
You heard what she said, man. Men are a lot faster, where by default we are physically stronger. Our muscle masses are bigger than most females. You get what I'm saying? Most men tend to be much taller than females, and most females tend to be smaller in height. Like, you can't sit up here and act like there's no biological differences between us. Like, you just can't sit up here and say that, because there are. You get what I'm saying? And, you know, unfortunately, those biological differences is what makes us, you know, better or worse at certain things. You get what I'm saying? It just is what it is. It's a part of nature. See, but that's the problem with these people. When I say people, y'all know who I'm talking to. They're trying to fight against nature. You cannot win against nature. Stop trying to fight against nature. You're not gonna win. Stop trying to change nature and do all these things, because that's what these people are doing. They're trying to fight nature, and you're just not gonna win. Nature always wins. You get what I'm saying? It's just that simple.
Questioning make you transphobic?
No, I'm just talking my honest truth. I would be lying to myself if I say anything else.
I think questioning is fine because it allows to explore the curiosity and become much more understanding. I think once you make a judgment towards it, that's when like the phobia comes in.
Well, I know I'm phobic. I'm homophobic. I'm transphobic. If it ain't female, don't come at me with that crazy shit.
When it comes to sports, gotta be black and white and universal. I'm sure a lot of people won't agree with that.
Do you think we're prioritizing too much of not pissing people off?
That has changed a lot of the ways that people are accepted or desire to be accepted. My whole life, when I see something, this is what my brain tells me. For me to just say, oh, that's this, and not understand it, that is me disagreeing with myself. And that causes more conflict within. That's also another line that we have to like really be wary of.
Things have changed considerably. Women didn't look like that when I was...
Now more than ever, we need to learn to disagree. But when questioning the current thing means you're whatever phobic, how can we even have these types of conversations? Where are you from, by the way?
Well, there's a lot of countries around it in Jamaica.
And you see, and the thing about the whole phobia thing, like transphobic, homophobic, and stuff like that, first of all, the word phobia literally means to have an irrational fear of something. That's literally what it means to have a phobia. So if I'm transphobic, that would literally mean that I'm scared of or I'm scared, or I have a fear of trans people. You get what I'm saying? But I'm not scared of them. I don't have a fear of them neither. I don't pay those people no mind. It's the same thing with gay people. I'm not homophobic neither. I'm not scared of gay people, or neither do I have a fear of them. You get what I'm saying? Or when I see a gay person, I don't get nervous and go in a corner and like, oh my gosh. Like, I don't do that. These people don't bother me the slightest. Do you get what I'm saying? So, but their definition of like transphobic is like you hate them or something like that. Like, it's like you hate trans people, or you hate gay people because, you know, they're gay or they're trans or whatever. You get what I'm saying? And listen, I don't hate these people, man. You feel me? If anything, if I had to say what I hate, I would say the way they go about indoctrinating other people into their ideologies. That's what I hate. I don't hate the trans people themselves. What I hate is the indoctrination that they do to enforce these, you know, these weirdo ideologies that they have about themselves onto people that are not really educated on these type of things. You get what I'm saying? And don't really care. You get what I'm saying? But they try to force other people that don't care to care. And it's just like, you can't do that. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, not the whole world doesn't revolve around you. Not everything is about you, man. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, man, that's when I have a problem, bro. That's when I have a problem. But yeah, man, I'm gonna just end the video off, man. I know this video is probably gonna be long, but I'm actually glad I watched this video because, yeah, man, like, it's crazy, man. Times are really changing. Times are really changing, man. Times are really changing. But I hope y'all enjoyed the video, man. And I'll see y'all on the next reaction.